Hi, and welcome to the presentation today. It's gonna be a good one, so I'm glad that you're here. We're gonna be talking about the live video structure to make sure that you deliver an entertaining, educational, and inspirational live stream video every single time you've gone live. And I have coached hundreds of business owners and thought leaders in this model to help them launch successful YouTube channels, live stream shows on Facebook, and video podcasts. We've experimented with all different kinds of formats. We've learned so much from gaining millions of minutes in watch time on YouTube and on Facebook. And today we're going to show you the most perfect model for creating a live stream show that entertains people. You know, it's exciting to watch. I mean, some of us, we have some really tough content that we have to work with. You know, if you're literally teaching people how to cut their own lawn, it can be hard to keep someone engaged for 30 minutes or 60 minutes on a show. But what I'm going to show you today is a format that is systematic. And if you follow it every single time, you'll hit all the right points in your live stream. You'll know when to engage. You'll know how to ask for a sale. You'll know when to tell a story. And I think you're going to get a lot out of today. So we're going to dig into that right now. But first, I want to show you a little bit more about who I am. I'm Owen Video, and you may have seen me before at social media marketing world. You might have also seen me on the San Diego News, where I appear regularly as a guest expert on YouTube and video streaming technologies. But you might have also seen me on YouTube or Facebook Live, where I have two very successful shows that gather hundreds of live viewers per week and thousands of views across both channels. You can learn more about me at thevideomarketingschool.com, or better yet, follow me on Instagram at Owen Video. In fact, why don't you just take a moment, get out your mobile phone, you know you want to anyway, right? And go into Instagram and find me at Owen Video, and then comment video on any of the posts that are on my page. And that way I know that you came from this event here. Okay, let's get started. Today I'm going to show you my ROS system for a live stream presentation that educates, inspires, and entertains. Let's dive into our topic today by exploring video structure. Now, you may not be aware, but all video is constructed. It's pieced together by writers, psychologists, government spies, actors, producers, and advertisers. Every single second in video media is accounted for. There's never a time in a movie or a TV series where the director says, then we'll just wing it for 10 minutes. To the contrary, every moment of media is planned out and fulfilled according to the needs and the purpose of the media. Let's take a look at one of the most famous pieces of media in all of American history. We're going to look at the TV show Friends. Okay, and I've illustrated it here in this slide below. Now, Friends follows a pretty recognizable format. In fact, I bet you didn't even recognize that you knew this format in some way, shape, or form. Okay, it's a pretty recognizable three-part format of capturing attention, keeping attention, and then a call to action, okay, what to do next. When we take a deeper look at that format expresses itself in the pieces of the media, the opening bumper, the jokes that they tell, the product placement, the cliffhangers before commercials. All of these things come together and are very intentional to create one piece of media that is engaging, entertaining, and really keeps you wanting to watch more episodes. It's binge watchable. And what we can do is we can deconstruct the TV show Friends, and we can actually find out what these parts are. Friends would come on, it would open in the apartment or somewhere, and they would tell you a joke. And this joke would only last a couple seconds, right? It's not very long, but it was designed to let you know that the show is on, right? And that it was gonna be funny. This is called the cold opening. And most TV shows use this. After the cold opening comes what? Right? That amazing, iconic song that we all resonate with. It creates brand. We're used to hearing it. It was even a hit, like we knew it. And then after the song, guess what comes next? It's a commercial break, right? This is where the advertisers, they pay for all of this, okay? And this is where they get their moment to shine. All right, now we're in the show, and the show itself has three parts, right? A beginning, a middle, and an end. First, there's the setup, where they sort of tell you what's going to happen. They introduce you to the characters and the themes and introduce you to the problem that's going to be solved in this episode. Then we see the journey, right? It's their pathway to accomplishing that thing. And this is where we see plot develop and we see, tears and we get laughter. This is the journey. This is the middle part of the story. And then we get to the tension, right? The big moment where they're about to show you how the show ends. But before we get to that big moment called the climax, what do we see? Another commercial break, right? So they create tension. There's a commercial break. And then there's the end of the show where you're able to get resolution to the plot lines that were developed. Everything sort of closes up. And then at the very end, there's a discrete call to action. In fact, what you'll see at the end of a TV show is they'll show like sort of a closing joke or a button, right? And the credits will play. And what this does is sort of telling you to keep watching. It's like, hey, it doesn't have to stop here. There's more jokes coming, so keep watching more television. And the networks did this on purpose. Remember back in the day? A show would end and they would have like a song and all the credits would roll and be like and all these credits would roll, right? Well, nobody would stick around for that. They would all change channel. What producers started doing was adding jokes to the end of the video where the credits would roll. And this satisfied two objections, right? Or two objectives. It was to keep people watching longer, but also to satisfy the needs of the union, which required that you had to show executive producer and writers and all these different kinds of things, okay? So you can see how the construction of media satisfies the goals of the media. And this is important because when you do your live stream, you have goals. You want people to tune in. You want people to stay tuned in, what we call watch time or retention, and you want people to take action on your live stream. And so when you follow a process like this during your live stream presentation, you'll find that your audience is more engaged, and you'll find that it's much easier to produce a show. You'll find you have a checklist for your shows now. And this was really key for us. This is how we were able to do 3 weekly shows at a time without even breaking a sweat. Okay, and these were revenue generating shows. This wasn't like, oh, I'd go schlep it up. Like, we had lower thirds and sound effects. This is what people know me for. Okay, we were able to do that by having structure, and that structure is called the ROS. Okay, ROS stands for a run of show, and what you're looking at here is our live video ROS template. Now, if you would like for me to send you this document, I am happy to do that. In fact, all you got to do is go to Instagram and comment video on any one of my images there. Just comment video, and I'll know you came from this, and I'll reach out to you, and I'll get this sent over to you. You don't need to follow this process with this document every single time. This is a training document designed to help you memorize a format. Now, if you're working in a team with multiple people, you'll find that this document is extremely helpful. Okay, and the first page starts with just your basic show information. So what's the name of the show that we're going to be running today? It's all how to build a train in 3 different ways. And then you're going to paste your thumbnail. You may not need thumbnails for your presentation. Maybe you do. And then we have our Facebook posting copy. And this is really important because my producer, Melissa Media, she can write this posting copy before or after I've written out the show, before I've even done that. It's great to have that here. And then, of course, we have our pre-scheduled links. So if this is based on a blog, or it's going in a blog, or if we're going on live on YouTube, or if there's a Facebook post, or if we've got an Instagram account associated with this, we'll put the links there. That way we can kind of quickly navigate. But the real message I came to deliver here to you today is this right here. This is the format you need to memorize, okay? And it's hook, intro, audience, guest, setup, sponsor, bullet 1, bullet 2, tension, segment, climax, conclusion. Okay, that's the basics. That's the gist of it. But let me share with you how that works and why that's too much to memorize. And so instead, you have those things written out on a document that you can come back to and fill in the blanks when you're about to go live, okay? So you need to open up your live stream with a hook. A hook is an attention-grabbing statement that entices your viewer to not just watch, but to watch for a little bit of time, right? Your hook isn't going to keep them there for an hour. It's going to keep them there for another minute. If you have a good hook, you can have a good follow-up minute, and that's how you make a consistent viewer. So here's an example of a great hook. Today, you're going to learn how to do X that will give you the result of Y so that you can experience Z. That's coming up now on my show. okay? So you can play with this, you can massage this, and you can keep moving. Now your bumper, you don't have to have a bumper, but you need to have a branding statement. You need to have something that says, you know, ta-da, we're live, right? This is that now, right? The hook is your cold opening, and this is your 3-second bumper, okay? So this is a quick overlay that just says, you know, ba-da, welcome to the show. You can get that made on Fiverr, you can make it yourself, whatever. After that, you're gonna do your introduction, okay? This is where you say, hey, welcome back to the Business of Video podcast, where business owners and thought leaders like you can learn how to build a channel on YouTube. We're live every Wednesday at 9 a.m. streaming on Facebook and YouTube. And you can join the tribe when you give me 5. That's right, type 5 into the comment section now, and I will send you my free guide on how to build a YouTube channel. I'm Owen Video, and I'm here today with my guest, Joe Green, and we're going to talk about how to build a channel that will stand the test of time. Okay? That's a good format for an introduction. Notice how I said it all, and it's a bit much, it's a mouthful, but here's the thing. You need to let people know that you're live every week, that you have a name for your show, that this is a long-term plan for you, and that if they can't, here's the message you're sending, is that if you can't stay today, you can catch me again next week, right? This is how we replace. We don't say, subscribe to my channel, you know? We just say, hey, we're here every day. We're here every week. You can trust us. You can rely on us, okay? And then we're going to tease the content, and then we're going to give you my favorite 2 words, but first. Okay, this is how we create tension, but it's also how we transition. Okay, it's how we transition into live streaming. How we go, what makes us different from a YouTube video or a radio show, right? We go to our audience. So tease the content. Hey, today I'm going to show you how to build a YouTube channel, but first I want to welcome our live audience watching on Facebook Live. I want to welcome Joe, and you're going to read comments, and you're going to recognize your live viewers. And this is key, that you recognize your live viewers at regular segments instead of sort of ongoing where you're in the middle of a sentence and you're like, hey, George, hey, it's good to see you, man. Come on in. Great to hang out. Hey, Sally, Sally's here. Like, don't do that. Welcome your audience at specific audience welcoming times, okay? Can you imagine if a keynote speaker were to like wave or stop and say hi to every person that walked into their keynote late? Don't do that, okay? Now, you also want to get engagement going here, but keep in mind engagement's going to take, like, it could take, 5 to 10 minutes for anyone to even type out a question or before you have a chance to even see it. Like, there's a gap in time there. If you live stream regularly, you know what I'm talking about. So ask a question of the day here, right? For example, hey, what is your experience with YouTube? Was it good or was it bad? Let me hear from you in the comment section. We'll do our best to pop your comment up on the screen and engage with you. Our guest today is so-and-so, okay? Now, the reason you want to ask a question of the day sort of up front right here is you want to get people talking and to get engagement. Engagement triggers the algorithm. And if you ask an open-ended question, you get a bigger comment. You get more than a yes or a no, all right? And you want to go directly into your guest intro and your guest question while people take the time to write in their questions and their comments. It's a big mistake to build a segment where you're like, here's the question of the day, and you sit and wait for respondents, right? What if the people watching you don't respond? You can't sit there with dead air and look like nobody's answering your questions. So you ask the question, and then you keep moving, and you come back to the question later. This is why it's helpful to have a timeline like this to keep you moving. Now, if you have a guest, you're going to say, our guest today is Jim Jones, who did this and also this. Welcome to the show. That's it. Do not do the long-winded, today our guest is who's written the book on the 45 reasons for everyone. Oh my gosh. Stop. Today our guest is Jim Green, who built a great YouTube channel, also has a phenomenal family life. Jim, welcome to the show. When you're done, let Jim talk about Jim, okay? Get rid of these bios. Now, here's the thing. When you bring your guest on, I actually don't recommend you say, Jim, welcome to the show. I actually recommend you start with a conversation to get the content moving. I don't care for these moments of, great to have me. Yeah, great to have you. Well, it's good to be here. I'm good. Yeah, it's so good to be here. You know, this small talk is where people leave, right? You want to sort of be like, Our guest today is Jim Green, who built a YouTube channel, but also has a great family life. Jim, why is a YouTube channel even important in today's business or in today's world? And then Jim can kind of just come in and start talking, and it's immediate value. Okay. Now, if you don't have a guest, you can just skip this. Okay, and you can highlight this and go, delete 2 rows, right? You can get rid of it. And that brings us into the setup. Now, the setup is crucial, and everybody skips this. The setup is where you lay the groundwork for what's going to come up. This is where you actually sort of peek at the climax, the big reveal, the big moment of your live stream. And you're going to hint to it, and you're going to sort of hint to why it's needed and the journey that you're going to take. So in the setup, you're answering a few basic questions. You're identifying the audience and the problem that they're facing. You're relating to the pain points of that problem to lend yourself credibility, and pointing to the results if they follow your advice, right? So, hey, if you're struggling to get leads, then you really need to pay attention today, because growing a YouTube channel is going to give you a lead flow for days and years on end in a residual fashion. And you're pointing them towards the vision of what's going to happen if they follow this advice. So I want you to listen to these 3 tips, right? And you're going through what you're going to solve today and what they will experience if they apply your solution. Okay, so it's really important to have a great setup where you prepare the viewer and excite them for what they're going to hear today. Now, that setup section should create a lot of excitement and buy you a little bit of time with your viewer to introduce your sponsor. Now, if you don't have a sponsor, you do now. And what I mean by that is you should be your own sponsor, okay? If you sell a show to somebody, then they are the sponsor. Yeah, absolutely, you can sell sponsorships, and I have, and we can do that. But if you have a free guide, or if you have a course, or if you have a mentorship program, then you should promote that right here. So you're going to go through the setup, and you're going to say, I'm glad you're with us, because growing a YouTube channel is super important, and that's why we're talking about it today, is because if you're a business owner, you probably want an edge, and you probably want a way to stand out from the crowd, and YouTube's a great way to do that. But if you do YouTube wrong, you're going to waste a lot of time. You're going to make yourself look stupid. So today, I'm going to show you 5 reasons why you should build a YouTube channel of significance and power, and the easiest way to do that. Our show today is sponsored by the Video Marketing School. And the videomarketingschool.com has the hottest training in tactical video marketing for business leaders. You can get a free course today when you visit the website at thevideomarketingschool.com. That's thevideomarketingschool.com. Do you want to generate new sales with video, live video, YouTube, and webinars? Then go to thevideomarketingschool.com. Okay? That's your sponsor segment, and that's how you build monetization into your show. It would be great if you could have like a banner that pops up or an image that pops up on screen, depending on what software you're using, okay, that really sells the sponsor segment. But you're using your setup to create expectation, and you leave them with this cliffhanger where you get your sales message in. Okay, this is really important. And that's where you're going to go into the journey. Okay, this is where you're going to go into the meat of your presentation. And I recommend, breaking up your points, the main points you want to make, into 3 or 5 bullet points. You can do 7 or 10, but I would keep it to 3 or 5. However you want to do it, you have to deliver some of the information, create more tension, and then deliver the information. Okay, so we've arranged this in a 3 bullet section. Now, it's important to note that if you're going to talk about one thing, it's growing your business. Now, I'm going to teach you today how to grow your business. Then you need to break that topic into 3 bullet points. Okay, this is where you separate the professionals from the amateurs. This is where it becomes obvious if you're just winging it versus you planned to deliver a message today. There's a lot of self-respect that goes into this, right? Are you just going to go live in a day and age where people like me have studios, media training, and you're just going to go live, right? No. You are going to dominate your industry with your live stream show because you prepare for your show and you take pride in your show. And your show isn't something you're squeezing in. Your live show is something you're building a schedule around. Okay? So you're going to plan out your bullet points. And bullet 1 is where your first question or your first point goes. And then below this, over in subtopics, you can sort of write the follow-up questions or the points you might want to get across. Notice here I put audience Q&A. This is a great way to end each segment. So each bullet point consists of a big question, some follow-up questions, and then audience Q&A. Okay? Also a good place to go back to question of the day. Then you're going to go right into bullet 2. So it's content and content. Bullet 2 follows the same format. It's you deliver the question or the point, you follow it up with some subtopics, and then you do some audience Q&A. And see what we're doing is we're creating rhythm, okay? Now, here's where we add tension, okay? Because the show's almost over. And whether you're doing a 30-minute show or an hour show, you follow the same format. You just shrink the things down, okay? But before you deliver your third and final point, you have to know a couple things. Number 1 is you have to remember that December is better than Christmas, right? December is better than Christmas, meaning, you know, it's the anticipation for Christmas. It's the trimming of the tree. It's the singing of the carols. Like, what day does the Christmas music go on in your home, right? For us, it tends to be after Thanksgiving or even Thanksgiving Day. You've got to create that excitement. And you do that by adding tension. So if you don't add tension, you are deflating your balloon, okay? The second thing you have to know is that your audience doesn't know that they want you to do this. They want you to do this. They want you to string them along. They have more fun. They might say, get to it, get to it. But that's like a little kid on Christmas going, let me open it now, Mom. And that's what you want. You almost want your audience going like, tell me what it is. So you may have to structure your live stream in such a way where you're delivering, you know, you find the most important point of the whole topic, whether it's gut health or social media management or plumbing. You got to find the big point. What's the big point? And then make all the other points the content, and you build up to this big point. Hey, before I can share with you this big point, you got to know, right? You got to know that this is really key. Okay? So here's how you do that. You must add tension before you lead into your final point, which is the climax of everything. The best way to do this is to promote the final point as the climax. Tell them the big reveal is coming. Don't hide the jokes. Hey, guys, what I'm going to share with you next is going to blow your mind. Every other tip today was good, but this next tip brings everything together, right? That's how you're going to promote it. And you got to hear this. You got to hear this. So stick around. Okay, I'm going to share with you what the final point is. But first, and then you're going to add a new segment here to break up the interview and get the audience engaged, okay? You're not going to do this long, but you are going to do this briefly, okay? It's not going to be a long thing. It's going to be a quick thing. But you're going to add a new segment in here. And when you add a segment, you're creating show, okay? Every show has a segment. Jimmy Fallon has segments. You know, he does a bit, you know, and then he does a skit, and then he's at the desk doing an interview, and then the band plays. Those are segments, and segments come together to form a show. So when you add segments like this, you're creating show, which adds credibility, professionality, right? So a great way to add a segment here is to tell a story of the final point. Today's final point is going to blow your mind. It brings all the other points together, and I first learned this when I was 9 years old, and my dad came home with a video camera and a Nintendo for our family. I go into that story or whatever, 30-second, 1-minute story. Another way to do that is to recognize an audience member, and I love doing this. You're going to love today's point. It's going to be awesome, and I'm going to get to it in just a quick second, but first, I want to recognize Sally Mae from Atlanta, Georgia, who logs into this show every single week and supports what we do. Sally is a home crafter building a YouTube channel. She homeschools her kids, and you can check her out at homecrafter.com or whatever, you know. Thank you, Sally, for watching the show. We're super glad to have you here. Okay, our final point for the day is, right, and you go on and you give them the big reveal, okay? You could also do a giveaway, right? You've got some options there on how you're going to want to close that up, okay? And then you go to your climax. This is the big reveal. It's the big reveal of your presentation. It should be the capstone or the strongest point of the entire live stream. So you need to find a way to make this point stand out. Use more images. Use some pre-recorded video. Use a frame, but don't waste this opportunity to highlight your big point, even if it's contrived, right? Even if all the points are equal and valid. Find a way to present the final point in a way that your audience wants it to be presented. This is the difference between the amateurs and the pros, is presentation. Okay? Then you get into your conclusion. You do need to let your audience know that it's wrapping up, okay? And so, you say, well, so what does this mean for dentists everywhere? It means do this, do this, do this. What does the audience have to say? You go into comments and questions, and I would make this last as long as you can. Like, as long as it's juicy, stay there for your audience. And then do your close, and your close should be the same way every single time. Hey, that's all the time we have for today. Type 5 in the comments to join us and other video creators in the Video Marketing Learning Center group on Facebook, where you'll get insider access, bonus content, and even more. It's Owen for the Video Marketing School, and I'll see you next week. Cut the stream, and you're done. And that's it. Follow this process every single time you go live, and you will have a live stream show that educates your viewers, inspires them, and entertains them, which will make you the leading authority figure in your field. Remember, go to my Instagram channel and go to any of my images and type in the word video. I will send you my ROS template that you can use and create for yourself, or just copy the format on your own and use it every single time you go live. Thanks for letting me be here today. I'm Owen Video, and I'll see you next time.